How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Now, we are today trying to make less of a mess than we made yesterday. That's the main plan. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill that circle in the center with cubes of Brazilian tulip wood and 7,000-year-old English bog oak, Fenland bog oak. That wood was dug up in Holm Fen, which is about 25 miles away from where I live. And a rough guess at its age is about 7,000 years, something like that. Which is nice. So you can see me spraying activator into the center, putting some glue on and putting it in. Pretty simple process really, that one. Yeah, it looks quite effective. So we're having a design change on the piece, because it's not much of a spirograph, is it? So the spirograph has done its job. So we're going to use what we've got and make something cool out of it. So I've just plugged the center hole that we used to drill all those holes with a little bit of Brazilian tulip. Super glued it in. And we're just doing some shear scraping, pull cut type things with the 40/40 bowl gouge, just to bring them down to flush. I didn't worry too much about shaping those pieces. Just bung them in the hole. For the design I've got in mind, they didn't need to be flush fitting or anything like that, and that will become evident as the design progresses. Quick bit of sanding. Okay, so it's time to start working on the mess that is the Spirograph channels. And I'm trying, what I want to do is the large portions, the outside piece of wood, I want to smooth, so there isn't much of a channel left. It sort of just leaves the raised areas in the center. And yeah, so here's the time-lapse of me. This is the best time-lapse photography you'll ever see. I managed to get almost all of the work I was doing off camera. Yeah, there's no screen on my GoPro, so sorry about that. But you can see what I'm doing as I go around, taking an 80 grit pad to the side walls of those channels, inside and out, and then working up from 150 to 240. I left them at 240, I didn't see any point going any further than that. So I'll let you in on what I'm going to do with this design change. Now, it's going to sound a bit strange, but I think that kind of looks like something you might see underwater. With those, let's call them standing stones, those red and black blocks. Something you might see hidden on the seafloor from prehistory, maybe even Atlantean times. You know, that mythical place that lives at the bottom of the sea. So, instead of a spirograph, we're going to make the sunken city of Atlantis, just for a giggle. And I kind of envisage the center portion being the city itself with its wall of standing stones, and then the arms of the spirograph as like buttresses that support the walls maybe. But obviously it's been underwater for 10, 15, 20,000 years maybe. So it's a bit weathered and worn. And that's what I'm going with. What do you reckon to that idea? I reckon I can pull it off. So what are we doing at the moment? We don't need those teeth anymore, so it's bye-bye teeth. And time to address the rim, which I didn't do before. So what I've done, I've taken the rim down and I've made a channel around the outside and just exposed all them holes. And this time, yes, I did get my 4mm drill bit and go around every single one of the holes, removing any burrs so that they're perfect little holes. And I sanded up the rim and the face of the piece up to 600 grit. And here comes the metallic body of the city of Atlantis. Now, this is what you want to do when you're pouring pewter. You want to pour it in, and then about here you realise it's gone wrong, and then you just tip the rest on for no reason at all. Just tip it on. It's already gone wrong, you know, so you might as well make it go all the way wrong. Yeah. What a mess. So, it's already gone wrong, so let's make even more mess. Let's just splat it. Yeah. That is exactly how you want to pour pewter. Now, that is a trademark procedure, so if I see anybody doing that, you know, I will be expecting royalties, so... Yeah, so the next thing to do after that mess was obviously take all the pewter back out again. And yes, it was hot, but it came out without too much difficulty. So it's the time of the show where we get to look at some of your fantastic work. And this bowl has been sent in by Dennis Souters of, I think it's pronounced Diamond Designs. He's a regular commenter on the show. And he sent in this lovely bowl. I'm not sure what wood it is. He might have told me, he might not. I'm sure he'll put it in the comments. And that's a beautiful piece. A real chunky... I'd say that's a man's bowl. Diamond design. Blackwood. It's fantastic work. Thanks for sending it in. And if you want your images to be featured on the show, you can send them in to willmakeseverything@gmail.com. So, pewter pour, take 2. And a little secret, what I didn't do on this one, after I chipped all the stuff out, I forgot to level the piece again. But I did do a better job of pouring the pewter this time, and I think my problem the first time, I hadn't got it hot enough. And it just lumped out everywhere, and I got this really hot to make sure it would flow. And it did a better job, not perfect. Again, because I hadn't leveled the piece. So I got some thick areas and some thin areas. And I spent the next hour with my soldering iron, going over that, taking bits out, remelting them. But eventually, we got pewter where we wanted pewter. So the next job is the scary job of taking the negative rake scraper and cutting away the excess pewter. And this was pretty scary, I'll be honest with you. It's a bit grabby. It's okay when you've started making a cut through your pewter, but if the initial, I don't know whether it's harder on the surface because the impurities float to the top, I don't know. But it's not nice starting off. I did think the piece was going to fly off a couple of times, but luckily we got away with it. So you sort of have to sneak up on it. You get one cut going and then sort of move left to right with your scraper. Keep adjusting your angles. Again, make sure you've got a respirator on if you're doing this. A dust mask is not gonna cut it. Those microscopic bits of pewter will cause you some serious damage if you get them in your lungs. So make sure you've got a respirator on if you're doing this. Not too bad. You can hear how horrible that sounds when you're cutting through pewter. It's not a nice thing to do. Not too bad. So, time to give that a sand. And I started off at 80 grit. And I went through about 6 different grits. And the last one I used was 1500 grit. I think that's about 180, 240 maybe, just there. And this is now 1500 grit. And we're just blowing off the pewter dust. Horrible, horrible stuff. Now the pewter does sort of get trapped in the grain, especially in the centre, but I'm not too worried because we're making a city. That'll be fine. Nice and shiny. Okay, so here come the glamour shots. Look at that. Does it look better than it did yesterday? Hopefully. It's not anywhere near completion yet, but I am hopeful this is going to turn out as something pretty cool. I've got the idea fully in my mind. I know exactly what I want to do. A couple of days, epoxy allowing, and we should be just about finished. So, thanks very much for watching the video and following along, and hello to all my new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'd consider hitting the old subscribe button and the like button and all that good stuff. And I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Take it easy, folks. Cheers.